Hi, this is Elizabeth Stockdale from NIAB. Usually at this time of year, we'd be putting the finishing touches to the soils pit on the cereal site, ready for conversations with the attendees about soil management and improving soil health. But instead, I'm putting together this video to launch our soil health assessment guide. We've been working together with the University of Cambridge Institute for Sustainability Leadership and ASDA to put together this guide to help farmers manage soil health better. A number of farmers around the country have been joining with us.
Being like land, it tends to dry out, and hence, the winter wheat yields and winter barley is not as good as probably other farms. So carrots then fit in well with our rotation from a financial viewpoint.
Yeah.
But then, of course, they're the ones that are doing all the damage. And then we're trying to do minimum cultivations for the wheat, barley, rape.
Tony Bell's been working with us to put the approaches in the Soil Health Assessment Guide into practice on his farm. First of all, NIAB screened a whole range of indicators, physical, chemical and biological, to work out which would be the most appropriate and easy to use on farm. A combination of physical, chemical and biological indicators are needed to give an assessment of soil health and link it to soil function. Practically in the field, this means identifying sample sites that are representative and useful for decision making in the rotation as a whole. These are about 5 metres in radius. Within this area, we're going to take 3 spade samples from which we're going to assess soil structure using the visual assessment of soil structure method. Use the keys that are available through HDB or SRUC. And don't forget to take a photograph. This is really useful alongside any notes for reference later. The same blocks are used to separate and then to count and assess the ecotypes of earthworms present. This is a really useful biological indicator. And then finally, within the sample area, a representative soil samples needed. This is going to be sent away for analysis: phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, pH and organic matter. You could have other analyses done too, but remember to make sure that that sample is representative of the whole area. The approach was developed with the farmers in the project. How useful do you think it was, Tony?
I suppose we're trying to be more scientific, aren't we? And that you have these feelings that you want to make changes, and what do we do? And then it's trying to put the science and the facts behind it. So it's more structured and hopefully then give longer term sort of benefits and insight to what we're actually doing.
Alongside the handbook, NIAB ASDA and the University of Cambridge Institute for Sustainability Leadership have developed an Excel-based tool to visualise the soil data collected and to compare this to benchmarks showing the overall health of the soil and to help guide practical changes. The tool includes assessment of management practices as well as the chemical, biological and physical properties of the soil. So the tool asks for management information across the rotation and uses that to help the calculation of its overall health score. Here, Tony and I are reviewing his data within the tool. One of Tony's particular concerns is the way that carrots receive large amounts of straw over winter and how that material is taken account of within the tool. Where you're using wheat straw, the 3 years of wheat in this 6 years, all of those residues are going back. So this is one of those ones that will change as I do it. So if we change that number 1 there, actually to be more like 4, you'll see if you look, the organic inputs line here will change. I don't know how much it'll change, so it's going to happen behind the scenes. We do that, we change it. And can you see that you've moved from what looked like a low level of organic inputs up towards the green? Together with the management information, the soil results are added. The results from the soil assessments, so a visual assessment of soil you did with your spade, a worms count that you also did at the same time, and then the sample sent away for analysis for pH, pK, magnesium and organic matter. That data feeds across to this center panel where that data is turned into scores, here shown on sort of spectrum. So sometimes the spectrum is from red to green, as it is there for organic inputs, but sometimes, for example, like with pH, the spectrum actually goes red to green and then back towards red again. So it just depends on the relationship between the thing we're looking at and yield. So pH is good in a sweet spot in the middle, and yours is perfectly in the green sweet spot. So with all the data in, the next question is, what does this mean and what does it tell us about soil health? Tony's particular question is about the organic matter levels in his soil and whether they're where they should be. And actually the thing that matters is that the soil organisms are being regularly fed so that they can do your structure building and changing things. And I guess if I had a worry about your rotation, it's not that you use a lot of straw, it's that what are those organisms being fed in those crops in the middle?
Yes. Yeah.
I think what you do is clearly doing a really good job. You've got really good yields. There is nothing wrong, but given the constraints your loamy sand gives you with your overall soil measurements, none of them make me scared or worried. They're about where I would expect them to be. But in terms of if you wanted to move them forward further, it's that question of, is there anything you can do rather than just put the straw on once to find something to feed the organisms in those winter crops in the middle? I hope what we've been able to show you here is that the tool's really useful to help farmers think about, assess, and then think about changes that they might make to improve their soil health. Happy digging!